What's going on, Fire fans? Thank you so much for tuning in. I am joined here by club owner Joe Mansueto, and there's some big news coming out of the club today. The Fire have recently announced they have renewed the contracts for both Georg Heitz, the sporting director, as well as technical director Sebastian Peltzer. So, Joe, we really appreciate you taking the time to just break down this decision and talk about some future plans. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Megan. I'm delighted to be here. I love talking about the Fire.
So do I. So let's get right into it. So obviously really big news coming out of the club. So just provide us some insight that went into making this decision.
Yeah, I'm very excited to bring back Georg Heitz as our sporting director and Sebastian Peltzer as our technical director to continue building on the progress we're making with the Chicago Fire. Now, I know fans are very disappointed that we did not make the playoffs. The whole organization is very disappointed, and we all feel that very personally. It was a tough one. It came down to the very last game of the season, so we did better than last year. So making progress, but we still came up short. And that's very frustrating for us. So we'll be active in the off season to strengthen the club and be much more competitive next season. But in terms of this decision, I think it's helpful to take a step back and try and understand what we're trying to achieve as an organization. And our goal is to build a world-class soccer organization. So it's building a first-class scouting network. We've made a lot of progress over the past year. We have a scouting network that we've built up in Europe, in South America. We've added a person in Africa. So there's a scouting organization. There's a performance group. Nacho Terreña heads that up, has done a great job keeping our athletes fit, in shape. Analytics is part of it. Kevin Minkus heads that up for us. He has a staff that looks at all the data, and increasingly sports is heading in this direction. You've got to be world-class in analytics. On up to there's the academy, some of the most serious players that we have. We've brought in a new head there, Gary Lewis, who is terrific, comes from Liverpool, Philadelphia, Seattle. Is one of the top academy directors in the country. The Fire too, we've promoted Alex Bowler, a really top talent, rising star within our organization, to head up the Fire 2. We've made the playoffs, so it's going in a good direction. We have a lot of confidence in Alex's abilities. And then on up into the first team. And again, I think we came up a little short this year. You know, we want to strengthen the club and be much more competitive next year. And then we have a sister club out in Europe, in Lugano, Switzerland. There we've made the Swiss Cup finals the last couple of years. And so I think things are heading in the right direction. I really want to continue to build on this progress. And so that's a bit of the thinking that goes into bringing back Georg and Sebastian for next year.
So you talk about the importance of building a really strong foundation for the club. Why is that so important when you're looking at your overall goal of creating a world-class organization?
Well, Megan, this is a long-term project. It takes a long time to really have considerable success in these areas. So take youth development. That doesn't happen overnight. But we've had a lot of success investing in our academy. You look at our homegrowns, players like Brian Gutierrez, Chris Brady, Mauricio Pineda, coming for our academy, and now first team starters. Or you look at a lot of the foreign nationals who've come in, Marin Haile Selassie from Lugano, or Federico Navarro, or Carlos Terán. We've developed, these players into really, just getting better and better. You look at John Duran, who we found in South America. We sold him to Aston Villa for one of the highest transfer fees ever in Major League Soccer. Or Gaga Slanina, our goalkeeper, who we are sold to Chelsea. And again, I think this points back to kind of the success that Georg has had, but it also speaks to your question about foundation. A lot of these things, performance, analytics, the reserve team, they just take time to build. And so I think as long as we're putting one foot ahead of the other, making progress in every year, and there's a real dedication to excellence, I think over time, fans will be very happy with where we're going to get to.
Well, speaking of looking ahead, what are some of those specific plans that we have in place to really bolster the team and create a really strong team environment for 2024?
Yeah, we're really excited about all the preparation we're doing for 24. So job one is to get our new head coach. Georg and Sebastian are almost through the final interviews. We're down to 3 candidates, and we hope to name a final soon. And once we have that coach in place, we have to get the assistants and the team around the coach in place. But also we're going to be busy in the transfer market over the season. That's already started. I think it's no secret we need a number 9 DP striker. So that's one of the prime targets. But we really want to add depth and additional starters throughout the roster. So we've had already a lot of conversations about the roster for next season, where we want to emphasize. We're looking at players, we're in discussions now. And then I think we're ready to come out strong in January when preseason starts, which is not far away, less than 2 months. I guarantee for the fans we'll have a stronger, more competitive club next year.
So there may be some fans that were disappointed by the results on the field, us not making playoffs this past season. So what is your message to them to instill that confidence that you're working hard every single day to ensure that this is a championship team?
My number one message for the fans is first of all, thank you for your support. And that's a heartfelt thank you. We know the club means a lot to you, it means a lot to us, so thank you for your continued support. And then secondly, I want to acknowledge the disappointment in not making the playoffs. We all feel that. I'm active in social media, reading kind of the comments, and I know there's disappointment about not making the playoffs. And we want to acknowledge that. We hear you, but we're doubling down and working harder than ever to make sure that we're a competitive club, vying for championships, not only next year, but consistently, year after year. And so, yes, it's been disappointing, but we're going to double down, be active in the transfer market, get the right coach in place, get the right team around the coach, and come back strong for next year. So I want to thank the fans for all of their support, all of their loyalty. It means a lot not only to me, but the whole organization. We feed off your energy, and so thank you for that. And we're working every day to make the Fire stronger.
I'm sure that's really important for fans to hear from you. So thank you so much for sharing all of your insight around this decision, as well as some exciting future plans to come. So we really appreciate it.
No, thank you, Megan. Delighted to be here.
Thank you guys for tuning in.